evening. I'd like to call to order the January 20th, 2015 regular called board meeting of the Fairfield County School District Board of Trustees. Has there been appropriate public notification of the meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. And confirmation of the quorum?
Yes.
At this point, we have 5. Motion will be entertained to enter executive session for legal, contractual, and personnel matters.
Madam Chair, make a motion to enter executive session to discuss legal, contractual, and/or personnel matters.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Frick has made the motion. Mr. Jackson seconded along with Mr. Miller. Those in favor of entering executive session for legal, contractual, personnel matters signify by raising of the right hand. Thank you. We will return no later than 6:30.
Where am I? Right here?
They say we have too much fun.
We've been here so long.
I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry.
Anybody else?
I'll entertain a motion to exit executive session during which no action was taken.
Madam Chair, make a motion to exit executive session.
Second, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Frick. Pastor Jackson. Those in favor of exiting executive session signify by the raising of the right hand. 7-0, Ms. Brown. As a matter of welcoming, I'd like to share a public statement that I have with our audience. Fairfield County School District and the Fairfield community have had much to be grateful for as we begin the new calendar year. Our district has enjoyed much success in the past 2.5 years. We're developing and improving a solid academic program for all of our students. We're continuing to receive positive publicity, and we have been extremely fortunate to have identified and retained an outstanding superintendent in Dr. J.R. Green, whose contract does extend now through June 30th, 2021. I very much regret that I was forced to adjourn our last meeting due to a member's disruptive conduct, specifically refusal to comply with the rulings of the chair, which rulings were designed to conduct an orderly business meeting, which our employees, parents, citizens, taxpayers, and students certainly deserve. In order to prevent this kind of disruption tonight and in future meetings, pursuant to board policy, specifically Robert's Rules of Order, and with consultation from the district's legal counsel, I'll proceed accordingly in tonight's meetings and in future meetings. In order to ensure orderly and professional meetings, board members may address the board and or speak publicly only when recognized by the chair. Comments must be germane to the agenda topic under discussion, as well as respectful of the board's and public's time. Normally, no board member may speak twice on a given topic until all board members have been given the opportunity to speak on that topic. The chair may direct law enforcement to remove any member of the audience whose conduct is disruptive of the meeting, and the chair, upon motion of the chair and upon majority vote of the board, may remove a board member for the balance of the meeting if one refuses to comply with the rulings of the chair and whose conduct is disruptive to the orderly conduct of board proceedings. The South Carolina Freedom of Information Act specifically provides in section 30-4-70D, this chapter does not prohibit the removal of any person who willfully disrupts a meeting to the extent that orderly conduct of the meeting is seriously compromised. If it becomes necessary to remove a board member, the district through legal counsel shall seek a court order upholding this practice and enjoining future misconduct and disruption at board meetings. Welcome tonight to the January 20th, 2015 regular called school board meeting of Fairfield County School District. We'll move to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Madam Chair, before we do that, since that was not part of the agenda, as you had just stated,
We're out of order. We'll move to the Pledge of Allegiance.
so we can ask a question on the statement you just read.
Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Back behind. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
While you're standing, please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you.
Madam Chair, what point can I ask you a question about?
Thank you.
just
We'll
read?
move on to the approval of the agenda.
Okay.
You need a motion on that, Madam Chair? Is that-
That'd be great. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second that, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Freight and Mr. Miller. Comments or concerns there?
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
on the part that made reference to changing the policy to put things on record, my understanding is that, with the Freedom of Information Act, you cannot do that.
You're correct. That will be stricken for now.
Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor of the approval of the agenda as stated, signify by raising of the right hand. It's like 7-0, Ms. Brown. And public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have two public comments for this evening. The first one is, I think I got these out of order. I apologize to both speakers if I did. Freedom's Pathway from Ms. Sharon Sally. I think that, Ms. Brown, do you have the clock that you can put up there? Just remind speakers to observe the clock. I'm using mine to do a little bit of math up here, so I apologize. Ms. Sally?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm Sharon Sally. Sorry.
Use the microphone.
You have to use the
We got to
please.
record it. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, give me another second. I'm Sharon Sally, and I am a bail bondsman. I have been for 22 years. And in doing so, I've seen a lot of abuse and deaths in the state. There are not enough buildings, there are not enough refuges for these people that are dying in our state. We're second in the whole nation for deaths. And I said, and we're also, there were 380 women and children that were turned away in the last 11 months because there's no room for them, and they're dying. And I've known many of them, and I prepared the books for y'all to show, these are people I've known. They're no longer here. And y'all have a 104 Old Camden Road, which is sufficient to help these people and to help these babies. And it's a safe place for them to go. And I've been looking, and it's centrally done to where all the neighboring counties that are high in deaths and abuse the officers can come there readily and bring them for a safe haven. And I would like the opportunity sometime in the future to talk to all of y'all in person and, about it, because 5 minutes isn't enough. But if you look at the folders that I prepared, you'll see the people that I know or have known. And I would like that time with y'all if you could let me have that, okay? Thank you so much. And I think I made it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Next, we will have a presentation from the Middlesex Management Corporation, LLC.
I'd like to say good evening to all of y'all. My name is Alan Watkins. I'm here with my colleague Maurice Collick, and we're here today representing the Middlesex Management Corporation. And the project that we're about to talk to you about briefly is called the Hand Up Project. The reason we're here is to ask the Fairfield County School Board to lease the old school board complex to the proposed Middlesex Management Corporation. The request is at a rate of $50 per month for 99 years. You might want to ask us why we say 99 years. 99 years because the federal government frowns on leases any shorter than 99 years. The reason, in the past, some of the people have obtained leases for primarily to sell enhancements and pass the title to my families. So the government frowns on any lease that's shorter than 99 years for public health. What do we intend to do with the property? We intend to turn the 2 brick buildings into temporary housing for men and women while they return to school, like the Midland Tech School and the new Career Center for re-education. That's our primary purpose. Why? It is common knowledge that 72% of young black mothers are unwed and don't have anywhere to turn. Therefore, we're offering them a place to stay. Think YMCA when you do this. Just think YMCA, and we're going to provide a place for them to stay. In addition to that, we hope to use a double-wide trailer for a child care center. It's, of course, everybody knows what a double-wide looks like. You've seen the complex over there, and we intend to use that to house kids while their mothers return to school, especially the unwed mothers with 2 or 3 children. Okay? We'll have to meet all the federal, state, and local guidelines. We have talked to some people in Washington, D.C. who are old grant writers, friends of mine, and they think that they can get a grant for us. Mr. Collick has determined, because he's in construction, that it's going to cost about $70,000 to get the buildings and grounds up, primarily showers, paint, redoing the fixtures, the air conditioning system, the heating system, all those things have to be updated. He has estimated it's going to cost about $70,000. So we're asking the school board and the county to assist us in providing this project with a wherewithal so that we can continue and help the people and the young women and men of Fairfield County. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That'll conclude public comment.
Thank you to both groups. We'll move on to presentations and recognitions.
Madam Chair, members of the board, it gives me great pleasure to recognize 2 outstanding teachers from Fairfield Middle School. I asked Dr. Hardy to join me as we recognize Ms. Vanessa Scott and Mr. Charles Trapp for having 90% or more of their students earning met or exemplary on the 2014 Palmetto Assessment of State Standards.
Dr. Green, if I may share for a second, both of these teachers had a unique experience last year in serving our STEM Early College Academy students. So in teaching both 7th and 8th grade, they had their work cut out for them, and we're very, very appreciative of their hard work each and every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to our Board Recognition Month. And each school was identified to recognize one of our board members. Gigi Elementary School will recognize Ms. Andrea Harrison. Kelly Mill Elementary School will recognize Ms. Annie McDaniel. McCoy-Liston School of Technology will recognize Mr. Henry Miller. Fairfield Middle School will recognize Mr. Carl Jackson Jr. Fairfield Magnet School for Math and Science will recognize Mr. William Frick. Fairfield Elementary School will recognize Ms. Paula Hartman. Fairfield Central High School, Gordon Odyssey, and Fairfield Career Technology are tag teaming to recognize Ms. Beth Reed. And so let's start in that order. First, if we could have Gigi Elementary School, if you could come and make the presentation to Ms. Harrison, if you could.
Good evening, Dr. Green, Madam Chair, Board of Trustees. First of all, I just want to say for the McGeeger family, thank you so much for all of your hard work and dedication. We truly appreciate you. And for Ms. Harrison, we have a special token.
Next, we'll have Kelly Mill Elementary.
From Kelly Miller Elementary School, Ms. McDaniel, we would just like to say thank you for your dedication and hard work for education, and thank you for being committed to excellence.
Next, we'll have McCoy-Liston School of Technology.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Board of Trustees, Dr. Green. On behalf of McCoy-Liston School of Technology, I'd like to say to all of you, happy School Board Appreciation Month. We truly appreciate all that you do for the students of McCoy-Liston and Fairfield County School District. But to Henry Miller, we want to say thank you, we love you, and we appreciate all that you do for our Soaring Eagles. And we have a small token of our appreciation.
Taking one more.
Next, we have Fairfield Middle School.
I certainly echo the sentiments shared this evening, but to one of our newest members, Mr. Jackson. Welcome to the Griffin family as well, and thank you all for your hard work and dedication.
Next, Fairfield Magnet School for Math and Science.
On behalf of Fairfield Magnet School for Math and Science, Mr. Frick, we appreciate what you do for our students and for all the employees in the district, and we are very fortunate to have you as the person that we was chosen to give a gift.
Next, we'll have Fairfield Elementary School.
Greetings to everyone. We want to thank all the school board members tonight for everything that you do for us. We do appreciate you. Ms. Paula Hartman, you are our representative, and we thank you on behalf of our students and our staff and everyone at Fairfield Elementary School, family of Stingrays. We thank you and we appreciate you.
And last but not least, Fairfield Central going Odyssey and Fairfield Career and Technology.
In honor of Board Appreciation Month, we would like to first thank all board members for your service and dedication to Fairfield County School District. On behalf of Fairfield Career and Technology Central, Gordon Odyssey Academy, Fairfield Career and Technology Center, Gordon Odyssey Academy, and Fairfield Central High School, we would like to recognize Board Chair Beth Reed.
Don't judge our basket. There's some good stuff in there. It just don't look like the elementary schools and the middle school.
Chairman Reed, I'd like to say from an individual perspective, I'd like to thank the board for being very cooperative over the last couple of years. We would not have been able to achieve all that we have. I'd like to personally thank you for giving me one of the best jobs you could have in America. If I could be superintendent of any place in the world, I'd be superintendent of Fairfield County School System. So that must let you know how easy this job is, right? So I'd like to thank this very cooperative board for the outstanding job that they've been doing over my 2.5 years. So thanks on my behalf. Also, we'd like to recognize Fairfield Central High School for providing all of the board members with those nice black and gold corsages. They are very elegant, and so we'd like to thank them for that. And also, it gives me great pleasure to recognize Ms. Annie McDaniel, who is being recognized by the School Board Association for 15 years of school board service. This year, 40 school board members from throughout the state will receive special lapel pins for reaching the 10 or 15-year benchmark. Another 20 will commemorate their 35th year of school board service. Veteran school board members provide vision and valuable leadership for school district. South Carolina School Boards Association and local boards are happy to honor these board members for their long-term dedication to improving student achievement in their communities. For the 2015 year in South Carolina, about 40% of the state's 613 school board members have served 4 years or less. 33% have 10 years or more board service. South Carolina School Board Association is a nonprofit organization serving as a source of information and a statewide voice for boards governing the 81 school districts. So please join me in congratulating Ms. McDaniel for 15 years of school board service.
You want to get this picture?
That's it, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Green. On behalf of the board, I know that we're all very grateful for the employees, the hard work that they do in academically preparing our students, and we appreciate the recognition tonight. We'll move on to the approval of the board minutes. And we'll take all those,
Ask, do you want to do that at one time, or?
that'd be the preference, yes, sir.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the November 14, December 2014 special call meeting and the December 14th regular call meeting minutes.
Thank you for the motion, Mr. Frick.
Seconded.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Mr. Frick has recommended that the board vote to approve the minutes from the November 2014 and December 2014 regular called meetings, as well as the December 2014 special meeting. Yes, Ms. Hartman?
On the December, the last meeting, which is December, is it, 18th? 16th? On the statement that I had stated, it needs a correction for as far as on the bids for the Career Center. I stated that we should take 3 bids like we should everything else. Not, at the end, it was incorrect.
Okay. Thank you.
Did you understand me, Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Thank you. I forgot to turn my microphone off.
Madam Chair,
Ma'am?
the items that are reflect when you have the board members' names, does that signify the exact wording from the tape?
Yes, it does.
Okay, then I need on December the 14th minutes, I'm sorry, December 16th, the statement that I made that is stated in the minutes that I wanted the record to reflect that I don't know what has gotten into you tonight and who you are trying to impress. I need that re-reviewed to make sure that is accurate. Also, on the special call meeting, it stated that I was not present for the vote. I was. You didn't ask me what my vote was, so that needs to reflect that I was not asked for my vote. On the November 18th, the request, account number that I requested was not for the Bow Tie and Elite Ladies activities, but was for the expenditures and transactions within the Superintendent's Contingency Fund. And I want to thank you all for making sure y'all put all of my comments in here what's supposed to be verbatim. But the one that, on the auditors, I'm not sure what the rest of that sentence is, but that needs to be completed. And on the capital improvement technology plan, I'm not sure that's what we call that, the information that we were sending to the county council.
All right, we'll vote on those. All those in favor of accepting the minutes from those 3 meetings, signify by the raising of the right hand.
Ma'am, Madam Chair, I got one more, please. On the minutes on the Career Center, it was not stated who it was that got the bid and the amount on it. I felt like that should be on there.
It's in board docs, I think that was an approximate amount as well. Okay.
Could we put the amount, even if it's an estimate, on that, please? For the minutes?
We'll double check it.
Thank you.
Those in favor of accepting the approving the minutes for the 3 meetings, signify by the raising of the right hand.
Madam Chair, is that going to be with the corrections?
With the corrections, yes, ma'am. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I'm going to need to say 6. Okay. Opposition, abstention.
Madam Chair,
Can I finish my sentence?
Madam
We
Chair,
have 6 in
I-
favor, we have 0 opposition, and we have 1 abstention. Thank you. Superintendent's report.
Madam Chair, we're going to get a copy of the minutes once they're corrected.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Chair, members of the board, first of all, I'd like to recognize Ms. Wallace for doing a wonderful job. I'm quite sure everyone has taken a look at the district newsletter, and I continue to be impressed by the outstanding job she does, highlighting all the wonderful things going on in the Fairfield County School District. Also, many of you probably had an opportunity to observe the WLTX story highlighting our Chromebook initiative. We have deployed several Chromebooks at the middle and the high school over the last couple of weeks. That is going very well. We will continue with that deployment, I think, on next week. So students are very excited about it, parents are very excited, and we are very excited about how this tool is going to transform our learning environment. Also, I'd like to recognize Ms. Swilly and Coach Roach and the staff at Fairfield Central High School for an outstanding MLK breakfast this past Saturday. I had an opportunity to attend, and it was done in a very, very fine fashion. Ms. Reed was there as well. Really an opportunity to highlight all the wonderful contributions made by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Also, I'd like to recognize the Giga Chorus who participated in the MLK March in Ridgeway this past Monday. I had an opportunity to participate in that march as well, in addition to a public program that occurred at Lebanon Presbyterian Church, honoring the life and legacy of Dr. King. I'd like to remind board members that Hall of Fame season is upon us. Please ensure that you have forwarded your committee representatives to myself or Ms. Wallace, preferably Ms. Wallace, since she's managing that process. I think we have received names from 3 or 4 of you. We would truly like to have representatives from all of the districts to be involved in that process. We're very excited. We have somewhere around 35 to 36 names that have been submitted for this year. So the field is very tough again. And that is all I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Excuse me?
I have made some contact with some of the local pastors in the county to look at providing wireless access for our students that do not have wireless access. You probably observed that on the story as well. We have scheduled a meeting with local pastors to see whether they would be willing to open up their facilities and allow our students to use their wireless access if they so desire. In addition, I have made contact with the county to discuss possibly partnering with the district to expand our broadband access throughout the county. I know Mr. Miller has had some individual conversation with at least one county council member. I've reached out to the county administrator, and so we're currently hoping to set a meeting up as soon as possible to talk about how we may be able to partner to expand our broadband access. Thank you, Chair.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Hartman, I think requested first.
No, that's fine.
Ms. Hartman.
Yes, I'd like to have a line item report on, as it's going down, as far as we're having it, on the Hall of Fame that we are currently doing, which I had requested already, the previous one, which haven't received it. I'd like to have that line item from the district, automated counting system, please.
Ms. Hartman, I believe your request was submitted under the Freedom of Information Act.
It was submitted both ways.
And it was submitted under the Freedom of Information Act, so therefore was sent to our attorneys. There's a 15 business day window for reply on that, and that will be acted upon.
That's fine.
Thank you. Ms. McDaniel?
But I also requested that to be on the agenda, and I see that you didn't put it on there.
That's correct. Ms. McDaniel?
On the Chrome notebooks?
Yes, ma'am.
I want that put on the record, by the way. Excuse me.
I'm sorry, we didn't vote. Ms. McDaniel, please go ahead.
And my statement on the record.
Ms. Hartman, you're out of order. Ms. McDaniel, would you like to speak?
Madam Chair, I'm gonna speak, but I don't understand what's going on tonight. But if you could please, I mean, you set the tone that's not necessary tonight. It's really not.
Do you have
necessary.
a question for the superintendent?
I'm gonna ask my question of the
Thank you.
superintendent. But again, you need to.
Once again, the comments must be germane to the
Agreed.
discussion. Please
When,
move on.
the Chrome notebooks was voted on, there was, also a condition on that vote that we get the, inventory of computers in the district. Have you had a chance to get that updated?
Well, we have an inventory. Yes, I'll provide that to the board.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Operations and Finance?
Good evening. In the board packet, you have the finance report for the month of December 2014, which is for your information and review.
Madam Chair, am I recognized? Sure. Is it possible we can get the budgets for these revenues that we receive from state and federal for adult ed? We only get the general fund budget, we don't get the special revenue ones.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Also in the board packet this evening, you have proposed revision to board policy DKC, expense authorization and reimbursement. And the recommendation of the superintendent is that the board approve the first reading of policy revision to board policy DKC for expense authorization and reimbursement. And the proposed change is being made so that the district will be in compliance with state and federal regulations regarding the maximum per diem that can be paid to employees.
Madam Chair, I make a motion we approve policy DKC, expense authorization for first reading, isn't it?
Second, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Frigg. Mr. Miller, the recommendation has been, there's been a motion and a second that the board approve the first reading for policy revision to the board policy DKC, expense authorization and reimbursement. Any questions or discussion?
Can I briefly, Madam Chair? Mr. Robinson, there was a change in the state law. Is that what transpired here, or what? How did we get here?
No, there was not a change. We had a monitoring visit from the state for one of our programs, and that was one of the things they pointed out that we were not in compliance with.
Madam Chair, I read the explanation from Melanie Jeanette as well as from, I guess that was our attorney, supporting, but I'm not understanding why it would be difficult for the board, for the administration to track and pay the staff the difference between what the rate is and what they can charge to the state and what they can charge to the federal. I'm not understanding why that's a problem.
According to what was said in the guidelines, there is no option for us to have a different rate for employees, whether it's paid for state, federal, or local funds.
Madam Chair, the point I'm making is, if the state is only going to reimburse us $35 if our Title I director was to take a trip to Hilton Head, I'm not understanding why it's a problem. Even I read Melanie Jeanette's response, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because we get a lot more money from our local tax dollars than we get from the state or the federal. So if our Title I director goes to Hilton Head with the expensive meals there, I don't understand why we can't use local tax dollars to pay the difference between what the state, where in that case it would be the federal, what the federal would allow, and what we have for everybody else that travel. To me, that just seems discriminatory. So can y'all look into that just a little farther?
And I understand what you're saying, Ms. McDaniel, but and I made that point as well, and that was the reason for make various inquiries. But the point is that in the general fund, the state funds that are allocated, they are commingled with local funds. There's no way to separate the two of them because they're all commingled in one fund. So the opinion from Ms. Jeanette was that because the funds are commingled and they're not separated, that it would be in the best interest of the district if we were ever audited to make sure that we were still in compliance with the state rates.
And Madam Chair, I'm still not understanding that, because the board goes, if someone else goes on local, they're gonna use the $75. Well, no, it's just the board. If I read the policy correctly, it's just gonna be the board. So if we can show the separation of the board, then I'm not understanding why we can't show the separation for anyone who travel under, whether it's under Title I or whether it's under state.
And I'll address that too. The issue wasn't a matter of separating the amounts for the board. The issue is that for the board, they're not considered employees. So as the legislation reads, and that's what our attorney opined on, is that board members are not employees. So it's not even a matter of separating it for them. But for employees, there is a matter of the fact that if they're paid out of the general fund, the funds from state allocations and local allocations are commingled together. So that's the difference between the two groups.
But local money is local money. And when we travel, we're being paid from local money, so we can distinguish. That's okay. I'll talk to that one myself. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any further question or discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of the superintendent's recommendation to approve the first reading of policy revision to the board policy DKC, signify by the raising of the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Opposition? And 1. Thank you.
Final item in the board packet this evening under finance, you have facility usage requests for a waiver from the group Believers and Achievers of Fairfield County.
Madam Chair, I think I have a conflict of interest on this. I participate in this organization. I don't know that I've paid my dues yet, but I do participate with them, so I think it'd be best if I recuse myself on this vote.
Thank you, Mr. Frick.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation for Believers and Achievers to be waived, provided we get a second.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Mr. Jackson. Seconded. Thank you. The motion and second have been made, and the request is that the Believers and Achievers group of Fairfield County have asked the board to waive the fees for the facility usage Fairfield Central High School Auditorium March 14th, 6 to 10 for a talent show. Discussion or questions?
Madam
Harrison?
I apologize. Will they be charging? Is there a fee, admission fee?
I think they're planning to do a canned food drive.
Okay.
Just getting canned goods.
Thank you.
Mr. Daniel?
Madam Chair, how does this align with our policy, this request?
The policies in the board docs.
This about the 1C3 organization?
Sure.
Mr. McDaniel, I think any group can request a fee waiver from the board, even though Believers and Achievers does not have a 501c3 status. I think we'll show that we have given fee waivers to other groups that do not have that designation.
And thank you for that response, Mr. Green. I just want to establish whether or not we are waiving the policy as well as the amount. Because if the policy does not support, then I just would like to know what this request.
But that conflict with policy, it is in line with our policy.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not saying that this group is particularly that one of them, but there is a few that the policy does say that, you know, that we're not supposed to waive the thing, so we may sometime want to look at that.
We may vote in opposition. The discussion has ensued. Any other questions? Those in favor of the fee waiver for...
Excuse me, those in favor of the fee waiver for the Believers and Achievers of Fairfield County, please signify by raising of the right hand. One, two, three, one, two, excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opposition, abstention, 1. And please note that Mr. Frick recused himself. Thank you.
Madam Chair, did you put that in writing? I think that has to be in writing.
Thank you.
I'll be glad.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right, Dr. Green?
Yes, and let me come back. I ended an oversight where I inadvertently did not address the initial board policy revision to board policy DEDG board minutes. After investigating the policy a little further, I am withdrawing this recommendation until we've had some additional time to modify the language in the policy.
Thank you. Move on to Human Resources. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. For your approval this evening, we have 3 items listed under Human Resources. Item number 1, certified resignations and terminations. The superintendent recommends the board approve resignations and terminations for certified staff members pending suitable replacements.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Second that.
Thank you, Mr. Frick. There's a motion and a second. The superintendent's recommendation is that the board approve the resignations, terminations, certified staff, pending suitable replacements. Those in favor signify by the raising of the right hand. Looks like 7, Ms. Brown. Thank you.
Item 2, for your approval, the superintendent recommends the board approve certified recommendations, and that would be exhibits 2A and 2B.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Pastor Jackson, we have a motion and a second that the recommendation is the board approve certified recommendations. Item 2, those in favor signify by the raising of the right hand. 7-0. Ms. Brown?
Madam Chair,
3.
you stated that it was a 7-0 for the resignation termination. I did not vote for that.
I'm sorry. What was your vote?
Against.
Ms. Brown? Did you catch that? I apologize. I thought I saw the arm go up.
And item 3, 2014-15 stipends. The superintendent recommends the board approve certified stipends for certified staff for the 2014-15 school year.
So move, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Miller, for that motion.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Frick. Superintendent's recommendation, the board approve stipends for certified staff. I think that was just one that was inadvertently left, or two that were left off from the original. Those in favor signify by the raising of the right hand.
So, Madam Chair, I'd like to ask a question. We're not taking questions?
Non-personnel issues, Ms. Hartman. Signify by the raising of the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opposition? 1. Abstention? 1. Thank you. We'll move on to the board chair report. The boardsmanship calendar is in your packet. The South Carolina School Board Association Convention is February 19th through 22nd, so it'll be just after our next February meeting. The meeting that is I think it was called by Richland 1, some similar districts that have want to collaborate on some of the issues that might be in common with those districts. That meeting has been planned for January the 29th from 3 to 6. That will be at the Calhoun County School District, and they've invited 3 board members. I understand Ms. Harrison has already replied that she will be attending. She was on an email thread with that. So are there 2 other members who would like to attend? If so, please notify the superintendent so that he can let Dr. Steve Wilson know who will be in attendance. Again, there will be only 3 board members that would be invited. Technically, that would, as we talked about, could constitute a quorum. So that's what that group agreed to do. We are just invitees of that group, not directing that. So January 29th, that's a Thursday, from 3 to 6 at the Calhoun County School District office.
Madam Chair, need someone to go. I'll go.
And I can go as well, but I can stay back if someone else would like to attend. But we do need representation. So if you think you can go, send it to Dr. Green and me, and then if 3 of us, then it'd be 3. If it's 4, then we can throw it back out and see if somebody really isn't partial to going. So we appreciate anyone's attendance at that. Finally, I believe that's the last thing on the agenda. Finally, I would like to say that in addition to our questions about the Freedom of Information Act, I've made several comments here over the last several years about the emails that continue to sometimes make hostile working environments for our employees, and sometimes are making libelous, demeaning statements. And just for me, I don't want to be included on any more emails. If the questions pertain to board business, I'll be happy to answer them. But I no longer want to be on any threads that challenge my character, my integrity, my leadership, and especially involve name calling. So in the future, just leave me out. I don't want to be a part of that. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, I had a question before you adjourn.
Sure.
The items in the side pocket, I asked a question about the nutritional standards policy in the Smart Snack, and it's in the side pocket. Can we have a statement from Mr. Green regarding that?
Statement as relates to what, Ms. McDaniel?
the nutritional standards policy?
Currently, the State Board of Education has given first reading on a policy that would give 30 exemptions to any district. And when I say exemptions, that means that you can do fundraisers where you sell during the school day things that do not meet the nutritional standards. I have been told, Ms. McDaniel, that there is some movement that really wants to move beyond 30 exemptions. And that is why they have not finalized it with the second reading. So I'm pretty confident that we won't have less than 30 exemptions. There's a chance we'll probably have more than 30 exemptions because there's some sentiment there. In terms of where we are in Fairfield County, we have utilized, I think, one exemption at this time. So we are nowhere near using our 30 exemptions.
Okay, thank you. Madam Chair, one final question. Mr. Green, on the E-rate money that we get, and the only reason I'm asking now, Madam Chair, is because I'm in communication with someone. I need a response from him. Would it be an imposition on this district if the restrictions on that money was loosened so that the Wi-Fi could be added to the students' devices?
Well, let me say this. I just had a conversation recently with John James. You are right. If the restrictions were loosened, we could expand our broadband access from our buildings on out to the general community, which is currently restricted by E-rate procedures. So if that were to happen, it would give us a little more latitude in terms of providing broadband access to our students outside of our facility.
Okay, but it would interfere with the other things going on that we've been using E-rate money for?
Well, it wouldn't necessarily interfere, but you can only spend $1 twice if you would. I mean, once. So, you know, that would mean we'd have to take some money that we may have been using in some other areas and shift it to broadband access. But to tell you, we would welcome that relaxation of those restrictions. I'd say that.
Okay, I just want to double check if I continue the communication. Thank you.
Madam Chair, one more
Yes.
question. We're going to turn these audit papers in.
Yes.
Tonight?
Mr. Twitty, you need our audit packet, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure.
And we need the entire packet back as well, all of the proposals and everything.
Okay.
Okay?
So they're not going to come and present to us like they normally do?
That's what we have right there. They need to be returned. That's it.
Is there a reason why they're not going to present so we can ask questions?
I don't know. That's the way it was presented to us.
What, can Mr. Green ask the question?
Well, and if it is the board's desire to rate them and then come up with a procedure where you have all of them come and present, or rather you have some come and present, I'm not averse to that. We just didn't necessarily feel as if this is something that we necessarily need to do. But if the board wants to do it, we have no issue with it.
Well, I just had a few questions, and if it's not the desire of the board, then if I can turn mine in tomorrow so I can make the contact for the questions that I had, and then I'll turn them in after that. Because if nobody else has a question, then I don't want to hold anybody else.
Madam Chair, I had a question on that was, they gave hourly rates and then they gave totals for 3-year time period. Well, one didn't coincide too much with the other. In other words, when you had three-year time period, some of the ones that were lower rates actually went up, you know, to the other rates that were higher, which didn't make a lot of sense. So I don't know if you can explain reasoning for that or not. Is some giving, you know, a time period more than the other one as far as to do the evaluations?
I couldn't answer that. I don't know. They provided that information, so I'm not sure how they came up with those estimates. And once again, those are simply estimates. I mean, those aren't exact figures.
Thank you.
Isn't it the bottom line figure that makes that one? My question was, isn't it the bottom line figure that we're looking at, not so much the hourly rates? Whatever the total is for doing the job. And it doesn't matter what they got for hourly rate as long as it doesn't exceed what they say the estimate is.
I think that'd be accurate, Pastor Jackson.
Madam Chair. That is a matter of concern, because normally and typically auditors go over whatever the total is, and if they go over that total, then they start billing you by the hour. So whatever hourly rate is listed is what they'll be billing for.
But also, I think you want to look at the quality as well. And that might be a difference in the time period they put into it, and that was why I asked that question.
We'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. We got 2 motions and maybe 2 seconds, Mr. Fritz and Mr. Pastor Jackson. Those in favor signify by raising of the right hand. Thank you.